So let's compare it to the inside heel hook to start with, okay? Because I do two things. There's one thing I do very differently between the inside and the outside heel hook. With the inside heel hook, we just look at it from the inside Senkaki position. Inside heel hook, I will always look at getting the toes in the armpit here, okay? Outside heel hook, I look at the crook of the elbow, okay? Now, the reason being, so if we look at the structure of the leg, I haven't covered this, have I? The difference in the inside and the outside. Okay? I've talked to a few people about it, I've not talked about it. What we're looking to do with a heel hook is we're looking to use the foot as a lever, okay? We turn the lever then starts to move, it creates this kind of rotation and the torque goes into the knee, okay? So we're basically using it as a lever to turn the lower part of the leg to create pressure in the knee joint, okay? It's as simple as that. That's what the heel hook is designed to do, okay? Now, if we're attacking an inside heel hook, we're turning the foot this way. Now, the foot doesn't turn this way. So very, very quickly, as soon as you start to put pressure on the foot will lock in this position, and then all the pressure you put in will become rotational up into the knee. Okay, does that make sense? It becomes a solid structure and a solid lever very, very easily. So you're not wasting energy. If we're going the other way, if I'm doing the outside, okay, as you start to use this as a lever, the foot bends, okay? So the foot will absorb some of that pressure first before it starts to reach its limit on the outside of the ligaments. Then it becomes solid, then it starts to put pressure in here. Okay, so whenever you're attacking the outside heel hook, you have to kind of take the slack out of the foot first. Does that make sense? Okay? Inside heel hook, there's no slack because the foot does not go that way. And at the outside heel hook, it's weird when you do this, seriously. The outside heel hook, there is slack. It's like with a toe hold, okay? So you can put a lot of pressure on a toe hold and the foot will really, really bend. We want to bend the foot to the point that it becomes solid, and then as the foot moves, it starts to rotate the lower leg, okay? This is why we go to the crook of the elbow as opposed to the armpit. So, there are ways of finishing with the armpit, but what I want to do, so everyone comes to the outside here. Now, if I come to the armpit here, okay, there's not that much tension on the foot. So when I start to apply pressure, the initial pressure is going to go into bending the foot, okay, to making it a solid structure so we can create the torque and the rotation of the leg. When I come to the crook of the elbow here, okay, it takes the slack out of the foot very, very quickly. Okay, so any pressure that I put in is going straight into the knee joint. Does that make sense? Basically, this is tighter than this. That's the key thing, okay? So we're looking for a tighter connection on the foot in order to take the slack out of the foot. Okay, does that make sense, guys? That's the reason why I would prefer to do it, okay? So, again, let's just look at a very simple setup as if the person isn't defending, okay? So again, we're in this position, we're nice and tight here. I'm just gonna reach back and I'm gonna grab the Achilles tendon here, okay? We are assuming the person does not know what we're doing and is not defending, okay? We're gonna look at having to dig the foot out and do all this kind of stuff, but I just want you to look at the really simple mechanics of it when the person has no idea what's happening, okay? I will grab the Achilles tendon. I will start to place the toes in the crook of the elbow here, okay? So I want his toes right in the crook of my elbow, okay? I want a bend in the foot if possible and bringing the blade up, okay? Now, again, hand positioning wise, you can come in and do all this kind of stuff. My preference with all the outside stuff is I will crook of the elbow, I will come here, and I will just get it on the calf here. So I will lock this in position. It's important that as soon as I'm here, I'm raising the heel. Okay, if I don't raise the heel, he can turn and he can slip this heel out. Okay, so the second we lock this in, we need to be raising the heel. So he tries to slip the heel now, there's no way he can slip the heel. Okay, so the toes are controlled, now the heel is controlled, so we have the foot isolated. I'll reach over, I'll grab the heel, or I'll grab underneath my hand and grab the heel here. Don't mind how you do it. But what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to look to pull the heel towards me to create the rotation. Now, as I do so, it's important what I do with my legs. I want to make sure my top knee is closing inwards. So my body is going this direction, my upper body, my lower body is going in this direction. If I do not do that, I create this rotation, he turns his knee, he turns his body, and we start coming into this kind of spiraling, spinning kind of position here, okay? This is what makes this superior finishing to the normal Ashi Garami, because when puts a lot of pressure on the foot, doesn't it? Yeah. You should feel this on the foot, guys, as well. okay? The foot should go, a lot of the time the foot will go before the knee goes as well, okay? It doesn't really matter which goes first, as long as both go, okay? But we're setting this up, we're getting nice and tight and secure here, right in the crook of the elbow, here and here. Now, as I finish, I start to pull and I start to create this tension and pressure in the knee. I pinch my knee in, and what you're gonna do, not in training, but in competition, is you're gonna start to drive your hips in the opposite direction through the knee, okay? In training, you shouldn't get to that point, because it's gonna destroy the guy's knee, okay? So again, secure, I'm just getting the toes right in the crook of the elbow. I'm pulling the heel towards me. I'm closing my knee and I'm pushing my hips in this direction. Okay, now you can see as I push my hips in this direction, the foot has to turn this way because it releases the pressure. Unfortunately, the toes are going the other way at the same time. So that you're creating this twist and then you're driving your hips right through the area where the pressure is built up. Okay, so again, one more time. As I say, we're going to look at more realistic ways of setting this up because the chance of you kind of being in this position and being able to manipulate this leg like this is very, very unlikely, okay? So we're just controlling the crook at the Achilles tendon, and I'm finding the crook of my elbow here. I'm coming up and I'm securing the heel by holding the calf here and here. I'm pulling in and I'm just pushing my hips through the other way, okay? I would be pinching this knee down, as I say, the other way. Because again, even if I don't push my hips in, if I pinch my knees, it turns his knee this way, it turns his foot this way. His foot cannot turn this way though, because his foot is secured in here. Does that make sense? Any questions? Just go through this very, very carefully, guys, okay? Don't be putting a lot of pressure on. It's just so you understand the mechanics of it, guys, okay? Once you have this all locked up and secure, and I'm good to kind of go from here, I don't need to pull this all the way to the far side here, okay? I can stop here, okay? Now I'm secure. As long as his foot can't go that way, as long as his toes can't go that way, I can now finish this with my upper body at this orientation, okay? Instead of me moving the foot, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the knee, there. Okay, does that make sense? So the heel hook isn't just about the upper body kind of coming across here. Okay, you can finish a heel hook by securing the lower body. It's a little bit loose here, okay? Securing the lower part of the leg here, securing the foot, and then forcing the upper part of the body to move, there. Okay, does that make sense? So it isn't just about kind of this rotation of pulling the heel across here. Okay, you can attack this from both ends. You can attack this from the above the knee or below the knee. Okay, as long as it's isolated, as long as like the foot can't turn this way and the knee can't turn this way. Okay, so my goal is either to get the heel and the foot to go rotating this way, and it's to get the knee to rotate in the opposite direction. Okay, if I can get, again, I'm just making them go against each other. So this is the problem you have in this position a lot is when people go for the finish, they start to do this, but then they allow this leg to open up. Okay, this isn't going to work. If his knee can move in this direction, this is not going to make a difference because the pressure that I'm putting here gets released by the knee going this way. Okay, so as I say, I can fully lock this up here, and then for me to finish, I don't need to be pulling this back over. Again, like in fact, in the last the finish of my last fight, that's kind of what happened. The foot was secured here, and if you watch it properly, the finish is just me going here and driving my hips through. Okay, because I've secured it, and I'm just forcing his knee now in the opposite direction to create that torque. Okay, does that make sense, or have I just made that more complicated than it needed to be?
Makes sense.
Because if you start to understand that, this is when it becomes a lot easier. Because there's those little things and little tricks and cool things you can do to kind of catch people and set this stuff up. But if you don't understand the core kind of mechanics of the body of how this is working, then it's irrelevant learning all of this stuff because you won't really get good at it. You need to kind of understand what you're trying to do with your body and what you're trying to force his body to do.